Hello, my friends. We're going to continue in Baba Basra, Daf Kuf Samech Tes. We're going to start Kuf Samech Tes on the base, about 6 lines up. Tanu Rabbanon. We're going to read and explain. Tanu Rabbanan, Aryeh שבא ואמר, עבד שטר חובי, אף על פי שאמרו עדים. אנו כתבנו וחתמנו ונתנו לו, אין כותבים לו את השטר. באמת, דברים אמורים בשטרי הלוואה, אבל שטרי מקח וממכר כותבים, חוץ מן האחריות שבו. רבן שמעון גמליאל אומר, אף שטרי מקח וממכר אין כותבים, וכן היה רב שמעון גמליאל אומר, הנותן מתנה לחברו והחזיר לו את השטר, חזרה מתנתו, וחכמים אומרים מתנתו קיימת. So we learned a brisa. Someone who comes and says, someone owed me money, and I lost the document, even though they has Eidim who say, we wrote this document, and we signed, and we gave it, and we saw that there was a loan, we don't write it again. Because with Choishesh, maybe he never lost it, and he's going to be Tovea twice. Says the Brisa, when did we say this, that we don't write a double document? That's in a loan document. But a document of a sale that was lost, you could write it again. But you could only write that Reuven owns a field. You can't write that there's a Aryeh from the person who sold it to him, let's say Shimon, that if someone takes away from Reuven, let's say the Baal Choiv of Shimon, that Reuven could claim back the field without a Aryeh. And the Gemara soon is going to explain this whole brisa. Kuf Samech Tes Amud Aleph. Rab Shimon Gamliel says, even in Shtori Mekach Umemka, you're not allowed to write it again, even without a Aryeh, you're not allowed to write it again. And so Rab Shimon Gamliel says that someone who gives a matana to his friend, so Reuven gave Shimon a matana and he gave him a document saying this field belongs to you, and now Shimon gave back the document saying that he got this matana back to Reuven. So says Rab Shimon Gamliel, the matana goes back from Shimon to Reuven, and Chachamim argue, the Chachamim say no, giving back the document doesn't make the transaction go back. And the Gemara later on is going to explain what's the machloikis between Rab Shimon Gamliel and Chachamim. So let's read the Gemara weiter. אמר מר, חוץ מאחריות שבו, מה טעמה? אמר רב ספרא, לפי שאין כותבים שני שטרות על שדה אחת. דילמה אזיל בעל חוב, תעריף להאי, ואז להאי ומפיק חד, ותעריף לקוחוס, ואמר לבעל חוב, שוף לי וקו דקומבה, ועד תתירפן ומפיק אחינה, ועד אזיל תעריף לקוחוס אחריני. וכיוון דקרני לשטרי דמלווה במאי התעריף לה. וכי תימא דלא קרני, ואמר רב נחמן, כל תירפא דלא כתיב בי קרני לשטרי דמלווה לאו תירפא הוא, וכל הדרכתא דלא כתיב בי קרני לתירפא לאו הדרכתא הוא, וכל שומא דלא כתיב בי קרני להדרכתא לאו שומא היא. לא צריכה דקאתי מכוח דאבוה. אמר לי רב אחי מדיפתא לרבינה. ולמה לי למימר לי לבעל חוב שוף לי בעירה ואיקום בו? תפק לדקבן דנקת שתי תרי שטרי תריף ועד אף תריף. אם כן, אפי שעלי בעלי דינים, ולכתב לה שטר המעליה, ולכתוב תברה למוכר, כל שטרי דאיפקון על הרדה פסולי מבר מן דאיפוק בזמן הדה, אמרו רבן כמדר הפאפה, ואמר לה כמדר הוושי. זאת אומרת, הם כותבים שובר. אמר לו, בעלמא כותבים שובר, קוף סמך תס עמוד בס. ואחרי תימא, דדילמה, אזיל בעל חוב ותעריף מיני דלוקח, ואזיל איו ותעריף לקוחוס, ותעריף לקוחוס, ושובר גם בלקוחות לקה. סוף סוף לקוחות לאו אמרי דארה אדרי. הדאחי ואחי שמת ואח על פרא. אינמי ללקוח שלו באחריות. יחי שטרי הלוואה נמי. אתם דזוזי מעסיק אמרי פייסי בזוזי חוי בזוזה, אחי דארה מעסיק מידע דדמן דמעסיק ערה בזוזה. לא, בזוזה לא מפייס. So we learned, Kuf Samech Tes Amud Aleph, that you could write a new shtar mechira, that Reuven owns this field without a Aryeh. What's the reason? Says Rav Safra, like we learned in the last page, they don't write two shtaros on one field. Why? Because we're choishesh. So let's get this story clear. You have here Reuven. He sold Shimon a field by Aryeh. You have Levi he's the Baal Choiv of Reuven. That means Reuven owes Levi money. And you have Issachar and Zevulun who also bought fields off Reuven, but in a later stage from when Shimon bought off the field. So what's the chashash? Maybe Levi, who's owed money by Reuven doesn't have money to pay, he will take from Shimon the field, and Shimon's gonna have two documents on this field that he owns this field. He's gonna go to the people who bought after him fields from Reuven, Yehuda, Issachar, and he's gonna take out one document they own the field, and he's gonna take away one of their fields because they took away his field, Shimon, who has Achrayas. And then he's going to tell him, Shimon, the Shimon is a Ramai, together with the Baal Choiv Levi, they do a knunya, they do a trick. He's going to tell Levi, listen, let me go back into my field that I bought off Reuven, let me be there for a while. And then in a few years, come back again, come to Bezdin and say, oh, Reuven owes me money, doesn't have money to pay me, I'm taking the field that Shimon bought off Reuven after the loan. And then once you take away the field second time off me, I'm going to go with the second shtar that I own this field, and I'm going to take from the other lekuchas another field, and then we'll split the profits. That's a chashash. Says the Gemara, how could we be choshesh for such a thing? How will Levi, in the second time, claim off Shimon the field? Once he comes to take the field of Shimon, we tear off his shtar that Reuven owes him money. And if you're going to tell me that's still a case where we forgot or we didn't tear the shtar of Levi, the Baal Choiv, the Malve, it can't be. Rav Nachman says, so there's three stages when a person's owed money. This Levi is owed money by Reuven. So first he has a loan document saying that Reuven owes him $1 million. Then he goes to Reuven doesn't have money to pay. So Bezdin write a tirfa, meaning go look for fields that Reuven sold to other people after the loan. That's a tirfa. Once he finds a field, you write a shtar drachta, meaning you could take this field, and then once you go take the field, we do a shuma, we estimate how much the value of the field is keneged the choy. So says Rav Nachman, every shtar tirfa, meaning that you could go look for fields of the loiva, that doesn't say in it we tore up the shtar of the alva, is not good tirfa. And every adrachta where we give him the field, that doesn't say we tore up the shtar of the tirfa, they could go look for fields, because we don't want to look, they could continue and look for other fields. You found the field already, is not good adrachta. And every shuma that said that we estimated how much the value is to give it to you, the malve, that you're taking keneged the choy, that we said doesn't fit it, that we tore up the adrachta, is not a shuma. So it can't be that the loiva still, the malve has the document still of the alva, because they must be torn up already. So how are we choishesh that the Baal Choiv will be goyve twice from the loikeach, and therefore the loikeach will be goyve from the other lekuchos twice? On that, the Gemara answers no. It's not talking about that Levi is claiming that Reuven owes him money, and therefore in that case, once he's goyve once from Shimon, will tear up the shtar choiv. It's coming that Levi is coming and tainuring, and he has Edom, and it's true Levi is tainuring that this field that Reuven sold Shimon was stolen. It belonged to his fathers of Levi, and therefore he could do it twice because you don't tear up any documents. So what's the story? Reuven sold Shimon a field. Shimon has two shtaros of Achrayas. Levi later on comes and said, this field that Shimon bought belongs to my family. Goes to Bezdin proved that he was right. So they say, oh, Reuven, so we give back the field that Shimon bought off Reuven to Levi because it really belongs to Levi. Then Shimon was going to go to the other lekuchos who bought after him from Reuven and take away the field of one of his shtaros he has. Then later on, Shimon's going to go to Levi and say, let me go back into this field and let's do it over. And now 5 years later, Levi's going to say, oh, this is my father's fields. And he's going to bring Edom, and Bezdin's not going to know that they took it away from him once and they're doing a trick. Bezdin's going to give him back the field. Shimon's going to have the second shtar that he owns the field, and he's going to take again from Lekuchas. And him and Levi are going to split the profits. So that's why you don't write two shtaros on one field. Says Rav Acha Midifta from a place called Difta to Ravina. Why do we need to say that Shimon told Levi, after Levi took away his field, give me back the field and in a few years we'll come claim it back off me. Why can't it be straight away when Levi takes away off Shimon the field, Shimon who has two stars of that he owns this field with Achrais, will straight away go to Yehuda and Issachar and take from each one a field. From Yehuda is going to say, here look, I own this field that you bought, and you bought after me a field from Reuben, so you mashub it to me and take it away. And then he's going to go straight away to Issachar. Why do you need that in the between? Shimon's going to get back from the Levi the field. So he answered to him, if he's going to do it right away, they get a chap. If he goes to Yehuda and Issachar straight away and claims from both of them a field, Yehuda's going to go to Shul and say, you know what happened? Shimon took away my field. His friend's going to tell him, what? He took also from Issachar field, and they're going to look into it and they're going to see that he double charged. And they're going to chap that Shimon's a liar because he had two stars. That's why he needs to wait, take only from Yehuda, and then let Levi will let him back into the field, and in a few years later he's going to take it back away from Shimon, and then Shimon's going to go to Issachar, and then they won't compare the two stories, they will forget about it. Says the Gemara, what's the problem of writing two stories? Let's write two stories. A guy comes to me and says, I lost my star that I own this field, and he has an Aiden that he had such a star. Bezdin should write him a new star with a chayes, but he should write a receipt to the Moicha, to Reuven, a receipt saying that only the new star is a good star, any other star is false. That means if Shimon really had the original star, he won't be able to use it, because it says a receipt by Reuven saying clearly that only the new star is a good star. So Rabbanon said this in front of Rav Papa, and some people say that they said it in front of Rav Ashi, and they said, we could see from here that you don't write a shoiva. We see it's a machlokes later on in Baba Basra. Do you write a receipt if someone paid off part of the choiv? Do we give a receipt to the loiva to say paid part of the choiv and we leave the original star by the malva or not? It's a machlokes, and we'll see over there exactly what's a machlokes. L'chora, from this chashash, that we could see over here that you don't write two stars in one field, it must be that you don't write a receipt, because if you wrote a receipt, there's nothing to be choishish over here. You can't double claim, because Reuven has a receipt saying that only the new star is good, the original star is not good. Sorry. Said the Gemara, Daf Kuf Samech Tes Amud Beis. Said to them, or Rav Ashi or Rav Papa, really, there's no right from here. Really, you can tell me that normally you do write a shoiva, you do write a receipt. And you know why over here you don't write a receipt? Because what's the chashash over here? That Levi, the Baal Choiv, is going to take away from Shimon, and Shimon, who has two documents, was going to take away from the Loikeach, from Yehuda and Issachar. And the shoiva, the receipt, who is the receipt by? It's not by the Lekuchas, by Yehuda and Issachar, it's by Reuven. So they won't know that this document is not a good document. They don't know that only the new document is a good document. Normally you could write a shoiva, but here it won't help because the shoiva is by Reuven, and really the one who he's stealing from is Yehuda and Issachar. Says, well, 1 minute. At the end of the day, if Shimon takes away from Yehuda a field, who's going to Yehuda? Yehuda also bought a field from Reuven. It's going to go back to Reuven. You need to pay me back. I have a chayes. And he's going to go back to the owner, to Reuven, and say, oh, look at the star that Shimon gave me, that he bought the land off you and they took it away from him. And he took away my field, now you owe me. And then Reuven's going to show 1 second, what's happening over here? I have a receipt saying that this document's not a good document. Said the Gemara on that to Turutzim. We are choishish that Shimon's going to take away from Yehuda. Enochinami Yehuda later on is going to go to Reuven and ask him back for that Shimon took away his field and he wants his money back. But for meanwhile, and then Reuven's going to take out the receipt and prove that this is wrong from Shimon to take away. But in that time, Shimon ate all the fruit. And now to start claiming off Shimon, it's a whole bestin, it's a whole court case. We don't want to get involved in that. And that's why we don't write two stories. Another teretz. You know why Yehuda won't go back to Reuven to come and complain? Because it could be Yehuda bought off Reuven the field without a chayes, without responsibility that if someone takes away the field from Yehuda, he could go back to Reuven. So when Shimon goes to Yehuda and takes away his field with a false star, Yehuda doesn't know that it's a false star. He doesn't have a receipt, and he won't go back to Reuven to complain because he never bought back Aryeh. And therefore Shimon is stealing the field off Yehuda, and that's why we don't write Shimon to Shtores. Said the Gemara, if so you are telling me really you normally write a shoiva. But in this case, you don't write a shoiva because the chashash, because the shoiva is in the wrong person's hand. By loans, they do write a shoiva. That means if the loiva paid off half his choiv, so we give him a receipt saying they paid off his choiv. How does that help? The malva is going to go to the lekuchas of the loiva and say, oh look, I have about a choiv over here of $1 million, and they don't know about the receipt that's by the loiva they paid $500,000 back, and it's going to be going for a field worth $1 million, and they don't know about it. So how does the shoiva help? You're telling me normally write a shoiva over here, you can't. The reason you can't over here, you also can't buy a var. So the Gemara, no, there's a big difference. Over there by a loan, what does the loiva owe the malva? Money. So if a malva comes to a loikeach of a loiva and wants to take away his field, he's straight away, before he's going to give the field, he's going to go speak to the loiva. Did you pay off already? Maybe you paid off and I don't need to give the field. Maybe you paid off the malva because you owe the money. So maybe you paid him off by money. But over here, what does Reuven owe Shimon? A land. Because Shimon bought off Reuven a land. Reuven owes Shimon a piece of land. So Yehuda knows that there's no chance that Shimon took money off Reuven for the land that was taken away from him, because he doesn't want money, he wants her land back, so therefore he's going to Yehuda to take land. So he won't bother to go ask Reuven, the seller, did you maybe give him money? And therefore he won't know about this receipt. But by a loan, straight away when the malva comes to the lekuchas straight away go ask the loiva, did you pay back or not? And straight away the loiva says, look, I have a receipt, you can't take £1 million worth of land, only $500,000. And therefore there's no chashash like by mechira. Let's read the Gemara weiter. Amar Mar, chutz min achayit shebo, echi katvinan, Amar Rab Nachman, the katviachi shtara denan. לא למגבבי, לא ממשבתי ולא מבחורי, אלא כי איך ידתיקו מערב יד דלוקח. אמר רפרם, זאת אומרת, אחי תור סופר הוא. תאמן דכתב לאחי, עליו כתב אחי, גבי. אבל שם האחי אצלה תור סופר הוא. מהי חוץ מהאחי שבו דלקתי באחי. הייתי את הדעה בלזוזה לעוגה ולמזבא לערה, אז עזב עלה שלא באחריות, עטיה לקמד רב נחמן, אמר לי, ותקוני שדרתיך ולא לעבותי. זיל זבנה מיני שלא באחריות, ועד אז זבנה ניאלי So we learned that you could write a double star on a sale, but you can't write achrayas in it. So we want to know what the lashon that you write when it's more of achrayas. So Rav Nachman says this is how you write. You write this star that we're writing over here, that it says that Reuven owns this land, or that Shimon owns this land, is not to be goiver that Shimon, if we take it away from Shimon, he could be goiver it from Levi. Not from the shubadim of the seller, and not from the chorim of the seller. The only value of this document is to prove that this field belongs to Shimon. Says Rafram, we could see from here, since you have to clearly write that it's not for achrayas, I mean, you can't write this just belongs to Shimon and that's enough. You didn't write achrayas, so there's no achrayas. Why is that not good enough? Why do you have to clearly say that there's no achrayas in the shtar? We could see achrayas toy soifa. I mean, there's a discussion. If it doesn't say achrayas in a shtar, I mean, it doesn't say that the seller is obligated to pay back if the field's taken away from the buyer. Is there a mistake? That means if it's not written in the shtar, do we say, oh, it's a mistake, they never wrote it, but every shtar means with achrayas? And even if it's not written, it's as if it's written in. That means achrayas is a mistake of a soifa. Achrayas lavto soifa means if it's not written in, it's not written in. So says Rafram, we could see from Rav Nachman, since he has to clarify and say that there was no achrayas, Clearly, it means that if it didn't say that, it means achrayas tosoifa, and it's included in achrayas. So the Rav Ashi, no, really achrayas is not a tosoifa. If it doesn't say achrayas, there's no achrayas. And what's pshat in the brisa that you write a shtar without achrayas? It doesn't mean that you specifically write that it doesn't have achrayas. It means that you just don't write achrayas. You write this belongs to Shimon, and you don't write anything more than that. And mimela achrayas is lav tosoifa. You don't write achrayas. It doesn't have achrayas. So the Gemara, a story about a woman. She gave money to a man to buy for her a piece of land. He went, he bought her, and he bought a piece of land without achrayas, without responsibility that if they take it away from the woman, she could claim it back from the seller. So this case came in front of Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman said to the shliach, the woman could tell you, I sent you to do me good and not to do me bad. Buying a piece of land without achrayas, that's considered bad. And therefore you did a mistake, and therefore you need to buy off the man that you bought it shaloi b'achrayas. You bought it shaloi b'achrayas, so you bought it, and now you need to sell it on to the woman with achrayas because it was your mistake, and you need to take responsibility. And now if the malveh of the seller, the original seller, comes and takes away from the woman, you're responsible to pay her back because you did the mistake. The continuation of the Gemara we're going to leave for the next page because it's part of the next sugya on Daf Kuf Ayin. Thank you very much.